Hello and welcome to The View from 4 feet and 3 inches. My name is Cassidy Huff. I am a white woman, and today I have a white background behind me. My hair is tied up into a bun. I have black glasses on, and I'm wearing a mix of like a pink and purple and blue and silver um, Disneyland sweatshirt this morning. And with me is a wonderful guest, Alyssa Jean. Welcome to the
Oh my gosh,
show.
hi, hello. I'm a
I'm so excited to have you
I
on.
I'm really I was like you were like who should be on the podcast and I said me and you said okay.
It
And I said wow, that worked out so nicely.
did.
Um
Oh, do you want to do a visual description of yourself real quick?
yeah. For all the fab listeners and people who
Yeah.
who use video description, hey, what's up? I'm Alyssa. My pronouns are she they. I am a white person, very femme presenting. I have white skin and beautiful blue eyes and a short little curly bob with bangs. And I'm wearing red
Love.
glasses with little cheetah print on the bottom. And I kind of look like Edna Mode if you've seen The Incredibles. And I'm wearing a black sweatshirt that says my tummy always hurts. That's because it does. Oh, and I have
I love it.
a white background.
Mhm. Well, I'm so excited to have you on the show. Thank you for answering honestly to my all call out there for who needs to be. I was like, no, I want people to be like, I want to be on the
You know
podcast
what's
because then it makes my job so much easier,
okay? So
right?
what's kind of gaggy is that I'm queer as well. So I'm pretty
Love,
limp wrist
love that.
for the, for the non-viewers. Is I saw it on Threads, and I was like,
Uh
okay, Alyssa, like don't go crazy, don't go too crazy. And then I saw it on Instagram, and I said, okay, go crazy. I said the
huh.
second
Okay,
time I
fine.
have to. If I see it
Okay,
again,
fine. It's fate, I guess.
I needed to be
You
on
know,
the pod.
we might as well. And then we scheduled it like 3 days in advance,
Yeah,
so it worked out.
we were like, okay, so you're free now? Great. So am I. All right.
So now, can we do it?
Here we are.
Alyssa, can you give just a description of like who you are, what you do, what you're all about for those listeners who might not
Oh
know?
my gosh. Hi, people who don't know me. I am neurodivergent and disabled and chronically ill. And you might be like, whoa, that's a lot of big words. And how do they not all mean the same thing? And they don't, which is nuts. Um, we love terms. Especially as part of someone as the LGBT community, I love an acronym. I love an umbrella term. We're queer, neurodivergent. Anyway,
Right.
so because of all of those parts of my identity, and like polyneurodivergent, disabled, and stuff, I was like, "Ugh, shoot, someone should really be telling people how to be more accessible and inclusive. And I have 2 degrees in theater and I love storytelling. And I went, well, like, how can we help people's stories get out there more? So I do a little bit of everything. So consulting, advocacy work, and civil rights work. Work with a lot of nonprofits, and then I also have a YouTube channel, just like talking
I
about my
love that.
life and being accessible in
I love it.
sunny, beautiful San Diego. I have a
Ooh.
service dog, and then I'm also a sports journalist because I love women's sports.
Mm. That you just had to throw that in there,
I
didn't
do,
you?
yeah.
You really.
So if the U.S. women's national team needs a reporter.
You said
Hey.
also sports journalism.
Yeah, and also I do. I really love. Today is the 17th, which is the start of Unrivaled, which is the 3-on-3 women's basketball league. It's like brand new.
Mm.
If you have HBO, they got Lola Bunny. Okay, I love
Wow.
her. Probably one of my first queer crushes was Lola Bunny in the original Space Jam.
I love that.
Yeah. Anyway, so basketball, excellent players. So yeah, I'm all in on women's sports. I went to a volleyball game last night for the
Wow.
Professional
Look at you.
Volleyball Federation. Yeah, San Diego's great
Whoa.
for sports.
I didn't know that.
I know we're secretly really like so we have the Padres and then we lost the NFL. Bye bye. Which no offense is fine by me because now we have the NWSL, which is the Professional
Mm.
Women's Soccer League.
Yeah, so
And
get out, man. Bye.
yeah, bye dudes. I mean, I
Get
got to
out.
see Alex Morgan, who's probably one of the greatest players to have done it as a forward. I got to see her play for several years and then retire.
Mm.
Like what?
Mm.
Megan Rapinoe, I was at her last game. What?
Oh,
And if you don't know who these people are,
you should.
Google them. That's all I
Yeah.
can say is Google it.
Megan Rapinoe I've known for a long time because
Yes.
she played in Seattle, didn't
Mm-hmm.
she?
She's
Yeah,
she
and I'm
was
from Seattle.
you are
Yeah,
our best
I am.
friend. Roommate is from Seattle. Her family
Oh.
lives in Kent. Shout out Kent,
Oh.
Kent,
Yeah, I'm
Washington.
about 30-ish minutes south of Seattle. I'm close to Kent,
Yeah,
actually.
nice little
Yeah,
neighborhood. When
I
we
was
went to
just
go
up there.
visit, I went on the little I don't know what's that public transportation train into the city.
The monorail,
No, that
the
one.
light rail,
Yeah, it's like fast. Yeah, the
light
light
rail.
rail.
It's
Yeah,
fast.
and then I didn't realize Seattle is not flat.
No,
That is a
very
misconception.
not
You
flat.
would think perhaps flat, not a walkable city.
Do people think it's
I
flat?
don't know. I assumed it was flat. I didn't know
Oh,
Washington was working with hills.
yeah, it's very hilly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's that
not
was
accessible.
no, that was fun to learn. But she took us to Pike Place and
Yeah, which is not accessible.
no, but we
No.
went. I when we went, it wasn't very busy
Oh,
because we
that's
went
not.
during
When
the
did you go?
a
Mm,
weekday, and then
that would make sense.
yeah, it was cold though. It was cold and
Well,
so
when did
many
you
hills.
go?
January.
Oh, that was a horrible
Well,
idea.
it was our best friend's birthday is in January, and I'm saying
Okay,
our, I mean me and my wife.
okay.
And she lives with us. And shout out Brittany. Um, and so
Yeah, Brittany.
we went for her birthday, and
I love that.
yeah, and it was like right, like the January before California lockdown in
Oh,
2020. It
yeah.
was a wild time.
Yeah, that was my senior year. I remember it well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
gosh,
horrible.
wait. Not 2020 being your senior year, hopefully in college.
Nope,
High school?
high school.
I'm so old. No.
Yeah, it was my senior year in high school. I didn't have a prom. I didn't have a graduation. I was also supposed to have my Broadway debut.
And
Turned
what?
18 in lockdown. It was a time.
Oh my gosh, what were you going to be doing on Broadway?
I won the state champs for the August Wilson monologue competition,
Okay, work.
and thanks. And nationals is on Broadway at the August Wilson Theater,
And they took
and
that
so
from
I was
you.
going to compete in nationals, and it was supposed to be like the week of my 18th birthday. So my whole thing was that I got on Broadway before I was 18.
And they said,
Yeah. And they said, we can't even reschedule it. We'll just have it virtually. And it was horrible. And it wasn't even a competition at that point anymore because they were like, we can't. It was something like legality wise, like they couldn't have us compete anymore. So it was just like a show and tell of our monologues. And we were like, we've been doing this for months and you're not even going to let us compete. Are you kidding?
yeah, that's,
But it was nice to be able to share the misery with like 20 other 20 other teenagers from across the country. We were all just miserable together.
yeah.
And it was the chat was popping. When you get like 20 really upset theater kids
Yeah,
in one Zoom room,
that's a
the
lot.
chat is great.
I've,
It's
that
hysterical.
poor moderator was probably like,
The moderator was like in tears from laughing so
well,
hard most of the time. Because he was like, okay, I'm gonna turn the chat off. You guys have to stop.
he was like, please leave me alone. I'm getting paid $18 an hour and the
We
world
were
is on
like, can we
fire.
all, yeah, we were like, could we all do like a text thread and then like do a group chat and then like play iMessage games and that's how we determine who wins?
Ooh.
Can we do it that way? And he was like, no, stop.
He's no fun.
He was like, "Please stop."
Wow.
Yeah, but
That's wild.
Seattle in January is not a fun
No,
time.
it's not quite the hot spot vacation.
No,
It's
it's pouring down
cold.
rain most of the time.
We didn't get any rain or any snow while we were there.
That's
We were
pretty
there for
good.
4 days.
You guys must have just. Oh, that's right. Because if you went in January, our big like snowstorm was in March of that year.
Hmm.
It was horrible.
Yeah,
It
I
was like start of lockdown, and we were all
snowed in.
not only stuck in our houses, but now snowed in.
Yeah. Well, you
It was,
made sure you couldn't leave. Nature
yeah,
didn't
they were
trust
like,
you.
no,
They said you're not
no
quarantining.
social distancing for you. Just shut
Wow.
down.
2020, I was not in high school. And
And
that's
that's okay.
all I'll say.
And that's
I have
okay.
Ehlers-Danlos. You cannot clock my tea, okay? You don't know how old I am.
Mhm. There you go. No. And we don't need to.
Yeah,
That's okay.
facts. No, I'm
Most
actually
of the
really
people I have
proud
on this
of
podcast,
like being alive. So
as you should be.
no, but you know what I mean. Like they kind of I don't know as a all the my labels. I wish there was one I could use. I'll come up with my own acronym. Um, but like especially like as an autistic person, they expect you to just like I don't know die at 18. You don't become an adult when you're
Yeah,
disabled or
right.
anything. So very grateful to be alive and like
Yeah,
thriving.
as you should be. I think I'm also in that boat.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm here.
deal
That's
with
the
it.
best you can get from me today.
Yeah,
Yeah, deal with it.
deal with it.
That's what I tell everybody in my
Also, are you
TikTok comments.
actually 4'3"?
I am actually 4 foot
Oh my
3.
gosh, cute. I'm 5'9", and
Thank
I was 5'9" at like 13.
mm,
So I kind of had an opposite problem where
mm.
people were like, "You're a moose," and I was like, "Yeah." I don't know what to tell you.
They said, please stop.
Like I would be
Please stop.
there are pictures of me in 8th grade next to the other students and I don't look like
Mm,
I should be in the class.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, I had the opposite problem. I was just so small
yeah.
and still am, and
Yeah.
rocking it. So people always ask me though, they're like, "Are you actually 4 foot 3?" I'm like, "Yes, that's why I named the podcast
Well,
for
I don't know.
four
You
feet and
could
three.
be overcompensating. You could have been 4 foot
You
two and a
know,
half and said
I
round
could,
up.
and I always have this issue because I have my prosthesis, and I always get um, my height is always measured with my prosthesis on
Okay.
because my right leg is 5 inches shorter than my left one.
Hmm.
So it doesn't make any sense to measure my height with my prosthesis off.
Yeah, because it's not on a
So,
curve.
yeah. So I'm like, I always get measured with it on, but then that means my shoes are on. So then everybody in my family is like, you're actually probably like shorter.
And you said,
And
don't
I
take
just
that from
cover
me.
my ears. I take my hearing aid out and I close my eyes and I'm like, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
And there we go.
And then it doesn't count. If you cannot
And then
see
it
or
doesn't
hear
count
it, it
and
doesn't
nobody can
count.
tell. No,
It's like
nobody can tell me
what is that like calories over the holidays? They don't count.
Oh my God. Please. Okay, so I'm really interested in this. Do you identify as an activist?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I usually use like advocate.
Okay.
Um Activist seems a little like Molotov cocktail. Um
Okay.
I think cuz I have like limitations, right? So there's a lot of
Uh,
physical activism I cannot do. Um
sure.
which is like if you're disabled, chronically ill, neurodivergent, like activism has a lot of different ways it can look. You do not have to be the person protesting like outside if that is
Yes.
not safe for you because
A hundred
that's
percent.
like counterintuitive to the activism. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of people feel helpless when they aren't able to do physical acts of activism.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm out here activating people. I don't know.
All that to say, I guess I am an activist.
Yeah, and all that to say, I'm better than everyone.
Right,
That's
right.
just that,
Yes, 100%.
you know?
And that is the title
And that's the
of the
title. That's my
podcast.
podcast. I'm better than you.
I'm better than you.
Debuting
I love
2025.
it. Do you have a
I
podcast? You
do
should.
not. I do not.
I feel like people would listen to that. I would
Ugh,
listen to that. You'd be like looking at your analytics. You'd be like, who's this one person that listens to all my episodes?
it's
It's me.
you. It's you.
It's me
I'm
over and
thinking
over
about it.
again.
Yeah, it's, you know what it is like I have to find a platform. And then do I just talk to myself? I do.
Basically,
Yeah, I guess so.
that's what I do anyway.
Yeah, I guess I'm already doing stuff. Well, I'll
I
think about
already
it.
talked to myself like around the house, and then one day I was just like, why don't I film it? And then that's how it happened.
And that was that.
And that's how it happened. And then when I was having conversations with friends over FaceTime, I was like,
I could film this.
we could be filming
I
this.
could be
We
making
could be,
money.
yeah, we could be filming this. What is
I
this? Like,
said,
come on.
well, you know, who knows if
And that's how podcasts are born.
I
So
guess
if you
so.
already talk to yourself, you're already halfway
I
there.
think I just need to have the audacity of a white man
Mm.
to like very confidently get on a microphone and just be like, you have to listen to me.
Yeah, see, I don't do that. I'm like, we're hanging out. Come hang out with us.
I
We're
mean, they
just
still
gonna
have to
talk. We're
listen to
gonna
what I'm. It's
gab.
like it's like you're eavesdropping on me at a restaurant with my friend.
Mm. That's my favorite hobby.
Oh yeah, I
Or-
love people watching. Ooh,
Mm.
I love making up a
I love
story,
people watching.
a
Yes.
narrative.
Making up like that person
You know how they say,
just.
um, "Don't worry if you think other people are watching you. Don't. They're too occupied with their lives. I'm watching you.
I am.
It's me. I'm the
I
person you
am.
should be
And the
worried
thing
about."
is my boyfriend and I will, if there's people at the table over from us and they're having a really juicy conversation, we will be completely silent the whole meal, but we will sign about what's happening
Oh,
because we know ASL.
oh yes.
So the whole time I'm like, did you hear what she just said? And he's like, yeah, I did.
He
Oh my
said, "Oh boy,
god.
did I?"
Wow. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I I love a harmless couple fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like not I don't want anything dangerous, okay? I don't want to
No, I don't want to be there for your breakup.
ooh, I might. Depends on how messy it is. But I, you know, like you
We
just
better
don't
never be in the
understand
same
me.
together.
Or like
Oh.
when he like says something and then it immediately becomes a problem. Oh, delish.
Mm.
Yes.
Or the second the waitress leaves, they start arguing.
Mm.
That's my
Were you
favorite.
looking at her? No.
The thing
I'm
is
looking at you.
I could never be in food service
I used
because
to
I'd be too nosy.
I used to work in a food truck, and I think that was the only way. Because then I was kind of in my own world because I was in the
Mm.
truck, and so
Mm.
I was able to do food service. But yeah, I think if I was like worked a restaurant, I'd be wanting to
Mm.
know what the tea is. What are you doing?
I'd be like
What's your
kind
relationship?
of doing my job while also like listening to what's happening over there.
Cleaning
Ooh.
a wall,
Yeah. Yeah.
dusting with the broom
Um
upside down.
yeah. I feel like you and I, you know what? I feel like you and I could do a really good stand-up routine like together.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like that'd be really good. With our service dogs
Oh my
on
gosh,
stage.
yes. And they would
What's your service dog name?
Leia,
Leia, they're
like
so
to
cute.
princess. She's actually right behind me, behind my little
Yep, of course she
enclosure.
is.
Um, yeah, because yours is a black lab as well, right?
Yes, you have a black lab.
Yeah. She baby
Oh
black
my
lab.
gosh.
She's five
I
months old. She's
love.
I mean, not 5 months. She's 5 years old. She's perfect.
I was gonna say, whoa. I
She's fully trained at 5 months old. No,
was like,
absolutely not.
oh, okay.
Show off. No, she's 5 years old. She's
When
great.
did you get her?
She was 4 months old when we got her. She's a rescue, and we did her DNA, and she is half lab, another mostly half golden, and then 5% German Shepherd.
Mm,
And so they only identify 3 breeds, and I think she has like another 5% that's super mutt,
mm.
which is just like ancestry too far back they can't figure it out. And
She's quirky, you know.
yeah,
She's not like other
she's
dogs.
not. She is, and she knows. She's really lives up to the name.
Mm,
She's sassy. She doesn't really think she's a dog. I think she thinks she's like a second better thing. It's like
mm.
looks like a dog, but is better than a dog. I don't.
Right.
Um,
Obviously, I feel like all service dog or like almost a lot of the service dogs I've encountered have that
they know.
mentality where they're like, "I'm better than you.
Yeah.
You don't have a job,
What are
so."
you unemployed? All the other dogs being like, I don't know what a job is. It's good
What is a
though,
job?
because she's a working dog and she's made up of working dog breeds. So she loves
Hmm.
her job.
What does she do for you?
So she is, she has deep pressure therapy. She also does cardiac alerts because I have
Mm.
POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. Means that I
Ooh.
go boom and faint. That's the really simple way of explaining it.
Hmm.
So she does that, and then I also have really
So
bad.
her job is to like
So she'll tell me when
identify.
to sit down. If my
Uh,
heart rate's getting too high, she can like smell it in my
mm,
sweat and saliva,
mm.
which was really fun to train because you have to like freeze samples of your sweat and saliva.
Oh, I didn't. I've always wondered about that.
Scent
Champ is
training.
not.
Yeah, when it's
Champ.
your own stuff, it's a lot harder. But like for like allergen detection, because I have
Mm,
food issues, she'll also let me know if something's gonna make me break out into
wow.
anaphylaxis. Yeah. And then she's very
Yeah,
proud of
Champ.
herself. She'll wag her tail and is like, "Go on."
Did you see that?
Yeah. Or
Champ's not smart enough to do that. He can't.
I think this is my thing. I don't think boy service dogs are as smart as girl service dogs.
I don't think so. People
That's my
like he takes his job very seriously.
yes.
He does. And he's great at what he does, but anything
But outside of that,
anything above what he does, he could never,
yeah,
actually.
my friend has a service dog she got from a program. I won't say which. And he is really good at service dog tasks. You can pick stuff up.
Sure.
He can, like love, work, awesome. But he also likes to sniff strangers' butts. And
So,
when Leia and he were tandem working, because me and my friend were out, and he did that, she looked up at me, and I was like, could you believe it?
what
She
is
was
he?
like, these college boys.
He's
She said,
college
and I'm a
man.
much better homeschooled kid. I went to school abroad.
Obviously.
That's her.
Yeah, Champy, he's just very dopey.
Yeah.
You know? Where like he's very smart when he needs to be. And then I've also seen him run into walls.
The
Just that
duality.
kind of
Yeah.
not, or like he could never be a guide dog ever. It's just not in his blood. Because once when I first got him, I was like, oh yeah, he knows. I was walking into school and I was like, he knows where the door is. We'll be fine. And I was like on my phone doing something and I kind of just trusted him to like find the door. He almost ran me into a cement pillar.
Yeah, he betrayed you. You
I was like,
trusted him and he betrayed
you
you.
can't, you cannot do that. Like he's like, he knows I'm with him, but at the same time, he doesn't understand where I am and where he is in time and space.
That's so crazy. So one of her tasks is to help me find my wife because I when I'm having a
Camp
meltdown,
also does that, yeah.
yeah, when I'm having a meltdown, I have a hard time focusing.
Hmm.
So she will help me find my wife, which is amazing. She could not be better at leading. I mean, I really she's like zipping through. She's checking in on me. She's at heel. She really is. It's so funny. She's such a like a diva, but she's also
Mm,
like in the same way you have to earn the status of a diva. She has. I mean, she's
right.
quite. She goes to soccer games because we go to the San Diego Wave games. Um, she watches soccer. She'll like put her little head in our ADA seats and she'll put her little head on the ledge and watch the game.
That's so cute.
And then she'll
What?
curl up. She'll check in on me.
She's like, hey, are
She
you
said,
good?
"Don't
Okay.
scream too loud, you'll pass out."
Sit down.
Mm-hmm. And I'm
The
standing up
hot
and
standing up.
screaming. Yeah. And that's
Um,
it's she could
I
never.
think that's funny because I think if I took Champ to a soccer game, he'd be like, okay.
My friend service dog
But the
can't do
second,
loud noises.
what?
Yeah, he doesn't prefer it. So she doesn't take him to like a concert or anything. Meanwhile,
Okay.
my service dog got to see Chapel Rowan a year ago in San Diego. Okay? My dog,
Leia said, chaperone.
yeah, my dog literally is trendier than you. That my other
Yeah,
podcast dropping
probably.
2025.
Other podcast, right.
My dog's trendier than you.
Um, yeah, Champ loves theater. Because we went to musical theater college.
Right.
It's where we went. And so he was off leash most of the time because I had to be on stage or in front of the class or whatever. So he was in a downstay,
Yeah.
off leash.
Watching.
And he just watches. And so the same thing with film. Like if we take him to the movies, he'll be in a downstay next to me and he'll be like watching. I'm like, are you understanding this? What's
Yeah.
happening? But then we took him and Elton John, Molly Burke service dog.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Cute.
we tandem worked them, and we were at a premiere with them
Oh
together.
my
We had to
gosh.
sit like 5 seats in between us because they're obsessed with each other,
Cute.
and they're fine when they're walking. They're like, ah, yes,
Working.
working. But the
Go
second
worker.
they're both in, do you see him? We work. Uh, but the second they're like in downstays next to each other, they're like, oh my god, you're my best
They
friend. Did
said,
you
"Can
know
we
that?" And
kiss?"
then they're like kissing each other and like sniffing. I'm like, we can't do this, actually. But one thing I noticed is that when the movie was on, both of them simultaneously are like watching the screen. And I've never
That's
seen
so
another
funny.
service dog do that. I was like, oh my gosh, it's because they're both theater dogs.
Yeah.
Like they both understand, like that's just their
They're
world.
cultured.
Um and they're cultured, obviously.
So is
And
Leia.
then anytime, yeah, yes, so is Leia. And anytime people clap, both of them think that people are clapping for them.
Yeah, Leia wags her tail. She's been to
I'm
several
like,
performances. She's seen Frozen on Broadway, Hamilton.
wow,
We've seen a couple of stuff. Yeah. Drag
weird.
Queen Christmas. It comes every year. It features RuPaul's drag queens.
Love.
They're amazing. She goes, I mean, if she's not curled up at my feet, resting, waiting for an alert to happen, or alerting, or watching, she'll wag her little tail when people clap. But she couldn't do. She has a service dog friend, Lila. And Lila is a kissy girl and gets really excited when she sees Leia, and they both get excited. But Leia is a consummate professional. I think if my dog was a person, she might be Patty LaPone, where
I
it's
love
like
that.
you turn your phone off and respect me. And that's how she is when she's working. She's like, "Do not kiss me. We're
Don't
like,
touch.
I'm not released. Don't touch me." When strangers try and touch her, she like looks at me like, "What is happening?"
Did you see that?
Yeah, and
Uncultured.
I think yeah, I think my dog might be a kindred spirit to Patty LaPone.
Yeah, anytime Champ sees a dog in public that's barking at him, always, um,
Always.
he will just he'll look at the dog and then look at me and be like, "Can you believe what what
Do you hear
some
what he said
people?"
about
I'm
you?
like,
That's crazy.
I'm like, wow, dude.
Yeah, one
Like
time
he's just more offended. He's
yeah,
like, "Are you kidding?"
one time we were at Disneyland and someone brought their pet, and as a reminder, Disney is not pet friendly.
Don't do that.
Please
Don't do
don't bring
that.
your animals to Disneyland.
Also, it's stressful for
It's
them.
so, I mean, like, there's so many dogs that fail out of being service dogs because of the stress. Like, it's not an easy job. So
No, Disney is stressful for people.
I literally have at least one meltdown every time I'm at Disney. And I mean, like, not even a
It's
panic attack, which is different. I'm screaming, having a full meltdown, like, trying not to self harm because of the
yeah.
overwhelm. I love Disney. I love Disneyland parks. Um, hire me. I don't know. Um, but it's as someone who, like, with all my compounding identities, it's like, woof. I have to decompress. I'm hiding under Hungry Bear by the canoes, and I'm in the corner watching you kiss her. No, I'm I'm hiding. I'm trying. I have bloops in. I'm covering my
Yeah.
ears. My eyes are
It's
closed.
so
It's
overwhelming.
it's a lot. It's beautiful, but it's a lot, and part of it is the people.
Most of it
Most of
is
it's
the
the
people.
people, to be honest.
Most of it's for
I'm
me personally. Most of it's the people.
Yeah, and the ducks. I'm sorry, but here is my rant about the Disneyland ducks. Stop feeding them.
Don't
One,
feed them.
don't feed them at all. Two, stop feeding them bread that literally will make their stomachs explode. Okay?
Churros, stop
Stop it.
it.
And also, three, I think is the number I was on. They're aggressive and they're mean, and we need ducks to be afraid of me
Because people
again.
are feeding
So
them.
stop it. Because
Don't feed the ducks.
it's like, in Little Shop of Horror, don't feed the plants, don't feed the ducks. Stop it. And then you go and you have a service dog who is trying their best to ignore these little duckies. And then the ducks are like,
But they come right up to
right
them.
up to my dog's face.
Right up.
And they're like,
And I'm like,
they do a little hiss. I hate that. And then
why did you do?
my
Why'd you
dog,
come up
being
here?
an angel, is like, oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Duck. I don't want to harm you, but I will
My
bark at
bad.
you so you get away from my mom. And these ducks don't give a duck. It's nuts. Stop feeding the ducks. Stop feeding
Stop
ducks.
feeding the ducks.
Period. Wild ducks, um,
They don't need you.
they
I
don't need
promise.
you.
Just admire them.
And
Be like, that's a pretty duck.
and geese,
Move
stop
on.
feeding them too.
They're aggressive
I
too.
hate them. I hate them so much. So
I'm
stop
afraid of
feeding
geese.
the birds. You can get a hummingbird
Personally,
feeder, but make sure that it's natural and not that red stuff.
also, I don't know. I'm afraid of. Personally, I have a fear of the Disneyland
Yes,
ducks.
they're
I'll say it.
terrifying. They're
I feel
aggressive.
like there should be a support group for people who have been personally victimized by the Disneyland ducks.
Yeah.
Um, they're aggressive.
And then people
They
look at me.
but
Leia lets out one bark to be like, woof, back off. And mom, take a look at this duck in my face. And people look at me like
get
she's
the duck away.
crazy. And I'm like, hey, whoa, 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 whoa. Service dogs
Wait a
can't bark as
second.
alerts.
Did
It's
you see the
controlled.
duck?
Okay?
Yeah, she's fine.
Get out of here. Talk to the
Once
duck.
once me and Kaz were at Disney and Champ wasn't with us. But me and Kaz were at Disney and we were waiting for Fantasmic to start. We were in the ADA
Oh.
seating section. We're sitting there and these this family next to us with like two little-ish girls. They're like probably 10, 11. Two parents and there's like a bunch of other people around, but they see the duck and they start feeding him.
No.
And then there's a conversation that comes up where they're like, we should name him Fernando. And I was like, all right, Fernando the duck, sure.
Okay, Abba.
But then Fernando gets more and more aggressive and starts going around and biting the children. Biting the
Yes.
children,
I
which
love when
isn't funny.
people's behavior has an immediate consequence.
It's not funny. It's not
It's
because he
funny.
was biting
It's
children,
so
but
funny.
it
You fed
it
the
was
duck. You
slightly funny.
invited the duck. It's like a vampire. You invited it into your
Yeah, but
space.
they weren't feeding it like bread. They were like, "Here's a hamburger, Fernando," and I was like, "Oh my god!" And
And
so
those
Kaz
ducks
and I
will
were
eat
talking.
anything.
They will, and Kaz and I, like next to each other, were like, "At what point do we step in?" And so eventually, Kaz tries to usher the duck
Fernando.
away, right, Fernando away, and like just kind of walk in with Fernando, being like, "Come on, let's go this way." And while I'm sitting there, Cass then goes to find a cast member to be like, "Hey,
Get this duck.
they were feeding Fernando. Please keep him
His
away."
government name.
Uh, and this full government name. And the cast members were like, "Oh, thank you." But while Kaz is doing that, the one of the little girls goes, Where'd Fernando go?" And the mother, goes, "That man was stomping on Fernando. He was stomping on him to get him away. He's the duck stomper." And
Okay.
just like goes off on Kaz. And so then for the rest of the time, they're talking very loudly about how Kaz was stomping on Fernando. And that's the reason Fernando didn't come back. And these parents just villainized Kaz in front of their children.
Yeah. Well,
Like, I mean, sure, Kaz can be the bad guy, that's fine. But I was like, oh my God.
it's also nuts because like ducks are so scary, and like maybe these kids need to get chased around by a goose. You know what I mean? Because there was a
These are mean.
by my childhood home, there is a man-made lake, which is so stupid to think about in the middle. Anyway, and they have a lot of ducks and geese and occasionally a larger bird and then some smaller birds. Now, I'm not a bird
Okay.
person. I struggle with it, and then I learned what we did to pigeons, and that really messed me up.
Oh, I don't feel like I want to know that.
Pigeons are meant to be domesticated. We domesticated them, and then we got tired of them and released them, and that's why we have wild pigeons. They're not meant to be wild. So yeah.
That's why they're not afraid.
Yeah.
They're like, hello.
Yeah, because they want to be a pet. Yeah, we did a bad job.
That's
We
so
used and abused
sad.
the pigeons. Yeah.
The poor pigeon.
Yeah, it's tough. Anyway, so now that you know that, um, what was I saying? Oh, but like, I remember I went when I was very little, I'd say maybe 3 to 5 age bracket of memories. And yeah, these geese would, the mother can get you. They're gonna
They
chase
will.
you, especially if you start feeding the ducks. Because they would sell. See, this was the nice part is because it was owned by the Parks Department. They sold little bags of bird feed so that you were not feeding them bread. Now, did that
Yeah.
stop people from feeding them loaves of bread? No.
100% no.
And
No.
that goes back to my thing is you shouldn't be feeding wild animals. There's a man who lives in my apartment complex and he feeds the squirrels. And now the squirrels aren't afraid.
And the squirrels, they're going to come in your home and get you.
Not me. Not my home. I got a dog and a cat.
Yeah, so do
And
I.
both of
They're
them
not going
bat at the windows
to
and I said, "Get them."
get 'em.
Whenever we take Leia out and we're going on a walk and there's a squirrel and it's doing something stupid that I hate, I'll release her and I'll say, "Go get him."
Go get the squirrel.
Because I absolutely do not want a varmint in my house.
No.
No, I'm not
I
doing
just
that.
planted a garden outside, and I was like, I swear to God, if these squirrels get it,
Well, you got to worry about raccoons. They like
I'm going to
gardens.
also. They do. I haven't seen any raccoons. I've seen coyotes, though.
We have lots of coyotes.
I'm a little worried about that. I'm also worried about the crows, but crows are I'm less scared of them.
But crows are willing to make a deal.
And they're very smart.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I could bargain with them.
Yeah, I think
You
that
know,
might be. I think as long as you don't have to be friends with the crows, but as long as you never disrespect a crow
I'm never gonna because they
because
remember.
because they remember.
They're very smart, and I'm
They're
not doing it.
vengeful.
Oh yeah,
So
and they'll tell their friends.
and then their murder, which is what a group of crows is called, will remember you. And
They'll get you.
they'll get you. And if I've seen the birds, I know they'll get you good.
I'm not. I'm not doing that.
Mm-mm.
See, no. I.
Not me saying I don't
I.
know birds and then spouting out several bird facts. Autism, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
This whole episode is just gonna be about birds.
Brought to you by birds.
They're gonna be like, are they actually disability advocates at all,
No,
or
I'm a
do they
bird
just have a
enthusiast.
hatred for birds?
Yeah. Okay, here's a question.
Okay.
Do you like birds? Like, what's your.
I so
Now be careful because
I
Big Bird is
I know.
They're watching.
And I know several bird enthusiasts that follow me,
Oh
and they
no.
will rip me to shreds
Like a bird.
if I'm like, I actually hate them, like a bird.
Like a bird, like a hawk.
Um, and so let's see. Do I like birds? Some of them, yes. Some of them, I'm scared of.
Yeah.
My grandmas both passed away 2 years ago, and they both said when they were alive, obviously, they both said that
Seance.
um, they both said that if they were reincarnated, they would come back as birds. My grandma Sue,
Mm-mm.
I know, my grandma
Mm-mm.
Sue said she would come back as a crow, and my grandma Sherry said she would come back as a hummingbird. And so
No.
I don't know why they
I'm
chose
out.
birds.
I don't want to lay an
Or
egg.
they were like,
I never want to
they
lay an
were
egg.
like,
I'm not having my own children. I don't want to lay an egg.
period. They were like, if you ever, because we were talking about signs one time, like, oh, do you believe that
Yeah.
people who have passed like send signs to
Mm-hmm.
people who are still living, and they were like, if they were like, when I die, you will know that I'm around if you see a crow or a hummingbird, and I was like, okay.
Okay, so that's
So
tough
now
because they
crows
also
and
exist
hummingbirds,
everywhere in
agreed,
California, at least in Southern
agreed.
California. I'm going to be more
So
specific.
thanks a lot. So yeah, so now I have a little bit of a special relationship
Cute.
to crows and hummingbirds. So now I'm like, okay, you guys are fine. Ducks and geese? Mm-mm.
Well, it's not like they chose a protected species in like upstate New
It's true.
York. so,
Sure.
so good job.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it works. But I feel like crows are very smart. So if they get into my garden, I could bargain with them and be like, hey, listen, you want a raspberry? Go get me something.
Yeah. If you give them something shiny,
Yeah.
they'll bring you back gifts.
And they'll bring something back.
Now,
It'll be
some of it may
great.
be dead animals, like a dead mouse. You have to
And
accept
that
that.
is
You have to accept
those
it.
those are the
Yeah.
consequences that you
Of playing with
accept.
nature. I'm
Yeah.
an Endorsey person. I don't know. I think everything about me made that clear, but I am so indoorsy.
Your hatred for birds specifically.
I I hate a seagull. The other week,
Mm.
a bird pooped on me, and I have
Uh-uh.
curly hair, and it was on several.
That's all.
Yeah, worse. Didn't know it happened till it was completely dry. Mm-hmm. Apparently, that's good luck.
Is it?
That's what my wife told me.
Who's
And I said, "Are you?" Now I'm wondering if they
who
were just
said
trying to make
that?
me feel better.
I
Someone who
feel
got
like
pooped
somebody
on and
who
was like, "Yeah,
like
it's good luck." You
yeah,
guys didn't know
somebody
that.
was trying to make themselves feel better because
Mm.
they got really embarrassed that a bird pooped on
I'm more
them.
embarrassed that I went several hours with bird poop in my hair.
Did you
Damn.
go anywhere?
No. No, and this happened at
Okay.
the dog park
Okay.
very early on in the morning. But can you believe it? Someone's morning poop right on my head, right over here. I'll never be the
That's
same.
horrible.
I'll
Never
never
be the
be the
same.
same.
Do you know what kind of bird it was?
No. And probably some
Mm.
stupid little bird, and I hope a hawk got it. We have a lot of hawks. We have so many hawks.
I always think it's really cool when I see a hawk or a bald eagle.
Yeah, I like. Okay, bald eagle. What? At the zoo, maybe.
Well, no, in Washington.
You guys have bald eagles IRL? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Okay,
Yeah, where
well,
I grew up.
at the San
Yeah.
Diego Zoo, I think they might have a bald eagle. I love the San Diego Zoo. Can Champ do zoos?
I've never tried.
Leia loves the zoo.
I'm kind of
She's
scared.
super unfazed, but you know what she doesn't like? She
Huh.
can stand next to the rhino, no problem. Be like within 5 feet of it, no issue. But she cannot handle kookaburras, which are an
What is
Australian laughing bird. Back to the birds. I know so
back to
much
the
about
bird?
birds. I
It's always
lied. But I hate them. And they
my editor is gonna have so much trouble cutting this episode.
to cut the birds.
He's gonna be like, he's gonna text me. He's gonna be like, so there's a lot of talk about birds. How much of this do you want me to keep in?
Well,
And I'm gonna say all of it.
well,
All of it.
anyway,
I
but
want
they
you to
make
keep all
this
of it.
like laughing sound. It sounds there's like a song about kookaburras.
I
Um,
don't like that.
yeah, neither does my service dog. And there was two of them and they were laughing at each other. I mean, I'm sure they weren't laughing, but it sounds like laughing.
Yeah, they're talking to each other. Yeah.
And I hated it. And we both were like, "Ooh, get out of here." And then like standing
Yeah,
next to like watching five giraffes like be
she's like,
giraffes.
look, there's a tiger.
Yeah. I mean, there are spaces we can't go. We can't go to the Australia section because they have kangaroos. And if you don't
Oh,
know
what happens?
this about
Why?
kangaroos, is they have dingoes in Australia, and dingoes look like dogs. And dingoes and kangaroos are natural enemies because of the whole I want to eat you because I'm a dingo.
Oh,
And so kangaroos are very strong, like
oh,
so strong. And when they
yeah.
fight dingoes in Australia, like out in the wild, um, they will not only like punch the heck out of them, but they will drown them and like hold them underwater. And for those reasons, you cannot go to Australia at the zoo. I
Oh,
mean, you can probably. I don't know if I would take Leia to Australia in general, but
I don't think I would. That's a
I
really
also it's
long
such a
flight.
long flight and flying's the worst. Talk about the
And
worst thing to do as a
also,
disabled person. Put me in a
yeah, I agree.
tiny container that's pressurized with people who have no manners and refuse to wear a mask because they need to sneeze on you. They just need to.
Have to.
If they don't fart and it gets all over you, did they
They
go on
haven't
a
done their job.
plane? And but then the
Right.
bathrooms are meant for who? That's a question. Who?
That is a
Who is
question
that meant
because
for?
I struggle with the bathrooms.
Yeah, I mean,
I am
I'm big and
false.
tall, so I knew it wasn't meant for me. But you're short and small. Oh, cute. We rhymed. Um, and it's not meant for you either. The
It's
width is weird,
I'm like trying to turn around and I'm like,
and you're hitting
sorry.
and you're touching all of this stuff.
All of the
And then all
things.
of a sudden it's so hot in there. So the layers you were wearing to not freeze to death in the cabin, suddenly you're sweating. So now you're sweating
Right.
in the place where others poop and there's no lid. So where does the poop particles go? Everywhere.
All of
And then God, forbid the heavens that I brought my service dog with me. She can't go to the bathroom with
Oh,
me even though I might pass
no.
out. Great.
No.
Love that. And then,
Can't fit in
oh,
there.
um, thank goodness I know how to schedule out that stuff and she can hold it for like 14 hours. If we went on anything longer, I don't know what we'd do. Oh, and also if you have a mobility aid, like a wheelchair or anything,
Good
they'll
luck.
just kill it.
It's just dead.
So so
Good
who's paying for
luck.
me to go to Australia on first class? Australia Tourism Board.
First class. What? But you okay? But if you're gonna go to Australia, if you're gonna ask somebody to pay for a trip to Australia, you need to specify. You need to say you want one of those the bed chambers,
Oh.
and like first class in there.
I want
That's
whatever's
what.
the most expensive first class ticket.
And on the most expensive airline.
Oh, smart. You're very good at specifying. You will be handling all my contracts from Australia. I
You're
just,
like,
you know what I
Cassidy,
mean?
please help.
Like, I look at like, I've never been on a brand trip, and that's partially because
No, I'm desperately. I want to.
and I think part of it is because I'm a treat and a dream. I'm so funny, but I'm also disabled. And that means they have to try. Like if they're a brand, they
Right.
have to make an effort.
They
They
also have to work with you.
I'm doing a presentation on neurodiversity for a nonprofit. And I was like, yeah, I'm
Okay.
going to need everyone if I'm not wearing a mask, everyone that's attending is better be masked up. And they were
Yeah.
like, do you still want to do
Oh, I saw
that?
that on
Yeah.
your.
And I
Was that
said,
on your
yeah,
story?
I'm still immunocompromised. Thank you so much. Everyone will have to wear a mask if they are there.
What
And
do you mean?
it was like
What do you mean they asked that?
they like, do you still you said that. Do you still
Do you mean it?
do you, I don't know, do you want to do that? Because we were like, maybe we could buy lunch for everyone. And I was like, well, they can eat lunch outside like everyone else. If we live in San Diego, it's still 65 degrees. It's going to be
They're
okay.
fine.
It's
They'll
going
be
to be
okay.
Gucci. And you could turn the air conditioning on, which makes wearing masks much more comfortable.
True.
You know what I mean? Bundle up. Don't worry about it. It's also not just COVID, but norovirus. I don't know how these people are washing their hands. Don't touch me. And then the flu. I have a friend who just got the flu, had to go to the ER.
It was. I got the flu
It's awful.
last year. It was actually the worst ever.
Yeah. People
And
still
then while
die
I was
from
home,
the flu.
yes. And then while I was home for Christmas, I got norovirus. So
Oh, I'm so sorry.
it's
See?
really
And then on top of that, RSV.
yeah,
There's like
that part.
so many things that like masking and washing your hands does for people.
It's not
And
hard.
it's like, man, the not yet disabled, they are so
The
arrogant.
temporarily abled.
Yeah. They are so arrogant about their health.
Y'all don't even know what's coming.
They think they're so untouchable, and that's fine. But that is why I think a lot of people who, when they get older and like lose independence or lose mobility and stuff, have such a hard time, is because no one talks about like the grief, but also like how inaccessible it is
Yeah.
to be disabled and to age and have things change and have your mobility change. And it's like, man, if only we gave a gave a gave a heck. Gave a, you know?
Only we gave a darn.
Yeah, sorry. I
Come
should
on.
have clarified if I can curse, and then I just started
You
sensing.
can.
Yeah.
Go for it.
You can give a shit. You know what I mean? If and that's why I think
You just do every single curse word that comes to mind in a row.
that's it just boo. You'll have to do the what's the SpongeBob? So many curse words later, they had to hire a new narrator to cut it. Yeah. I think if there's one thing I wish people knew is that like accessibility should not be just when it's demanded. People should be thinking about it like for everyone. You know what I mean? And like bare minimum stuff. You know, like people's like getting food allergies right and not killing someone.
On a brand trip.
Oh
Or
wow.
at it, what was that?
Yeah, what? I'm so sorry.
What
Um,
was that?
you know what I mean? Like that's an accessibility issue. That's an inclusion issue.
Yeah.
That's unforgivable, like inexcusable that stuff like that is happening
Literally.
when it is. I mean, the bar is so low. Or there are other like content creators who I have seen who were like, "Oh, I couldn't go to this event because there was stairs." And they knew that I was disabled and had a walker, or knew that I used a cane, or knew that I had.
I just don't understand how you could be like the organizer of that event and know who you're organizing for and still miss the mark so
Or I mean,
bad.
even what was it, Jeremy Renner when he got his leg torn up by the like saving his son, someone from like an industrial
Oh yeah.
machine, like a
Yeah.
gardening, like a mower or something. And then he went on the red carpet like a month later or something for Hawkeye for Disney, and there were stairs. And they didn't get him a walker. They didn't get him any
You idiot.
help. He was in a full boot, hobbling around. And I was like,
And he was like really torn up after
yeah, I
that
mean,
too.
he had to have like,
It was really bad.
it was touch and go for a minute. Like,
Yeah.
I remember reading the headline of like him being rushed to the hospital and it being like, oh,
Yeah.
this might not go well, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, even a superstar celebrity has to tough it out. Like, well, man, look how resilient he is. It's like, come on. We
So
could just
inspiration.
make it accessible.
We could just not had stairs at that one event.
Yeah,
And
we
it
could have
would
done a
been fine.
ramp. We could have done a ramp.
A different venue.
Could have done a different venue. Could have gotten him a walker so that he wasn't hobbling because that had to be painful.
Yeah. Or at least, I mean, if you can't do any of that, assign some people to him
Yeah.
to help him.
I don't know. Have someone carry him. I'd love that.
Yeah, who cares?
You can hire a very strong person to pick up
I guarantee you.
I that would be amazing. It just carried around by a person, like on their shoulder. Like
And
I'm in a
I
parade.
would, I would do that. Like, with all the cameras. Hello.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
I'm
think
gonna
that would suit
ask you
me.
one last question. So, I have a lot. My main demographic is younger disabled people.
Work.
Usually, I haven't looked at my analytics in a while, but usually between the ages of like 13 and 18.
Oh.
And I get a lot of questions about how to be confident and disabled, how to love your body, how to just get through life, and how to deal with bullies
Yeah.
and all the rest. And so my question that I ask everybody at the very end is, what would you like to tell younger disabled neurodivergent people that might be listening to this?
Okay. One piece of advice, and it's going to sound so bad. And so you can, but just try it first. And it's fake it till you make it.
Mm.
I think one of the things in my history, I also had an eating disorder and I'm in recovery for that because that's like lifelong. Um, was saying one nice thing about myself to myself
Mm.
in the mirror every day.
Mm.
And that's something that I had to practice when I was being bullied for being autistic. And I would have to find, and it got easier and easier to find things that I loved about myself. And then I would also repeat, I am capable of hard things
Mm.
because I can't control what's happening outside of me. Um, and that was hard to learn. But what I could control was my actions and my reactions, and that I was able to do things that were really hard. Whether that was loving myself on a day where I didn't feel like it, or if it was, um, advocating for myself, even though it was really scary. There's a lot of pressure, and that's totally normal to feel like this is too much. And in those moments, you can control how kind you are to yourself and like what you do to regain all of that energy. So
Mm.
making yourself your own enemy doesn't pay off. And the people who are bullies, listen, I was at an event and one of my high school bullies was there, and I am so much more fabulous and happier than they were at this event. And it was because I've always stayed true to myself. I mean, kind of because
Mm.
I don't have a choice, but um, I have always been me, and I can't change who I am like
Mm.
fundamentally. I can grow for the better, but I'm always going to be me. I'm going to be Alyssa with everything that I am. And it was so interesting to see someone who was so unhappy and taking it out on others continue to be so unhappy taking it out on others. And
Mm.
ultimately, it's probably because that person is unhappy with who they are on the inside
Right.
because they let themselves be their number one enemy. So be
Yeah.
your own best friend.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And find community if you can. That's really
Yes.
helpful, having people you can rely on. And also, oof, this was a tough lesson I had to learn for all my neurodivergent, specifically autism, ADHD baddies who get hyperfixation friendships. Some people are only going to be your friend for a while.
Mm.
And it's okay for friendships to end. That's a tough one. That's just like good
I
life
love that.
advice. You will have people for seasons. And some people are
Yeah.
like so long, and that's great. And they are lifelong. And then some people are just for a little bit. And
Yeah.
that's okay. Doesn't make it less impactful. Just means it was a little
Yeah.
bit different.
Yeah. Agreed. Alyssa, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram unless something crazy happens with Meta. at Alyssa Jean, ALYSSAJEAN. And all the rest of my links are on there. So,
Amazing. Thank you so much for listening and or watching to The View from 4 Feet and 3 Inches. Make sure to go check out my Patreon because I am getting a lot more active on there, and it is one of the ways that you can help me now that one of my main sources of income is being banned. So please make sure to go check my Patreon out as well as my other social media because I do post on TikTok for as long as it's around, Instagram and Facebook Reels, as well as YouTube Shorts every single day. And I have a YouTube vlog that comes out every Wednesday and a podcast episode that comes out every Sunday. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
bye.